Hi everyone. In this week's video, we're going to look at how to make a donut chart in Tableau that looks like this, showing our class, the percent of the total, and the total sales figure value, along with a total value in the middle. You'll remember from last week, we made this bar chart and this line chart. So if you haven't done that, look at those videos on the YouTube channel. Now the goal here is going to be to create a dashboard very similar to the one we created in Power BI, moving from the bad visual to the improved visual, and then we're going to combine all three together in Tableau and compare Power BI to Tableau's dashboarding. So to start, we're going to create a brand new worksheet, and we're going to want to start by creating a circle on our page. Now, we can't just use a figure like sales to do this because it's continuous. It has a large range of data. So what we're going to actually do is create a new um, kind of placeholder value that will contain the shape of our circle. So you can see here already on the marks card that I've changed from automatic to circle. And then we're going to right click here on the bottom left underneath all of our measures and click create calculated field. And this is going to bring up a calculation box where we can type in, I'm just going to call this circle. We can type in a name for our parameter or our variable, and then we can give a function. Now this is very similar to DAX in Power BI, where we can create, min, max, sum, aggregate functions. We can do if statements, and we're going to talk about this more in future weeks. But for now, you just need to type min1. So it's just going to do obviously the minimum of 1, which is 1. And so when we drag that in up here, we're going to get a circle, right, with value 1. And what I actually want to do, this is kind of the trick with how the donut chart works, is we're going to create 2 of these. Okay, so you can see I've got 2 circles, and so now I've got 2 marks cards. And just right off the bat, we're going to increase the size of these, and we're going to do view, entire view. So I'm going to get a really nice big circle off the bat here, okay? And what's going to end up happening is we're going to actually overlap these, as you can see here in this donut chart. So they're actually going to be a dual axis chart, which we looked at in the past. So really what's happening here is I've got a white circle over top of my pie chart, okay? So really it is just a pie chart and they're overlapped, okay? So we've got our 2 circles here, and we're not going to overlap them just yet, and we need to drag a couple things onto our left circle and then our right circle. So starting with the first marks card, this is our circle on the left, what we're going to bring in is going to be our sales. So we're going to put sum of sales onto color. We're going to put sum of sales onto the angle, which we don't have access to yet. So what we actually need to do is change this to pie. Okay, so now it's going to be a pie graph. Okay, so they should both be, this one will also have to be, it doesn't have to be a pie chart, but just keep them same. So now that it's a pie chart, you can see it's much larger. We can bring sum of sales onto angle, and that hasn't appeared to do anything yet because we're not dividing it by any group, right? We haven't specified, is this the sales per country, the sales per city, or the sales per customer? So what we actually want to do is divide it by the shipping mode to keep it consistent with the chart we made in Power BI. So I'm going to put shipping mode onto label, and now I've got all 4 of my shipping mode categories. You can see if I take sum of sales off of angle, it doesn't know how to divide them evenly, so it just is doing 5 groups, which is why we need sum of sales on angle. So now it knows each sales figure for each category. Next, what we need to do is add a a quick table calculation for our sum of sales. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring sum of sales onto label here, and that's going to get me my total value, 1.8 million, as you can see here. But on the green pill in the marks card, I'm going to click the little drop down arrow and go down to this triangle option, add table calculation. And this is going to give me a range of pre-made calculations, and the one I want is percent of total. So you can see there's a bunch of other calculations in there. Percent of total is going to get me the percent of that slice as a total for the entire pie chart. And then once I've got that, I can click the X and we can see I've got 14.48%, 59%, right? But now I've lost that figure, 1.8 million. So to bring that back, I can just drag another sum of sales green pill onto label, and now it says 1.8 million along with the percentage. So that matches the 3 labels that we had in Power BI as well. Okay, so we're done with this chart on the left. We will come back to format some of these values into millions, but first let's get the circle on the right working. So we're going to click into our second marks card here, and I'm just going to bring the size down, okay, so that it can fit inside of this circle. And then I'm going to bring one measure over. I'm going to bring the sales measure onto label. And it's just going to be the sum of sales onto label here, 12.6 million. And really all that's left now is to do some formatting. So we can at this point overlap them by clicking on the top pill here on the right hand side, our circle aggregate function from our calculated field, and click dual axis. So I just click this little drop down arrow, dual axis, and that's just going to combine the two charts together. They're overlapping. Now remember, depending on the order of these, okay, the kind of dictates the layering. So if I have it on the left hand side, it actually is behind. So I want this smaller circle on the right. At this point, we can change the color to white so it looks transparent and it matches the background color of my canvas. If you have a different background color, then you'll obviously change that. Now, a couple small things that we want to change. Obviously, we want to rename our sheet so that the title is matching. So this would be obviously sales by ship mode. So I'll rename that to sales by ship mode. And then I want to get rid of these grid lines here. I also don't want this label that says circle, right? That's the name of my calculated field. So I can just right click that and unclick show header, and that disappears. Now you can still see I've got these grid lines. So I'm going to right click them, click format. And then on the left hand side here, you can see this is the text settings. If we come on over here, we've got our borders settings, and you can see I've got on my row dividers and my column dividers, I've got a pane with a line. I'm going to click none on both of those and as well on my row divider. So you can see that that row divider disappeared. And then on this is my grid lines, this next little tab. We're going to go there and we're going to turn those reference lines off and all of these lines. Okay, and I think we've got one more that we're missing here. So I'm just going to make sure if I go to rows and columns on both of these, that they're both set to none. So I can see that one, this little tab here, rows, columns. We're going to just go through both of those and make sure they're set to none. Okay, and they are gone. All right, so now it's a nice clean donut chart. We can change the size, right? So if I want to bring this down, you know, and make it like a little bit smaller, we can do that. Okay, so first things first, let's change the colors to match our purple theme. All right, so we can just go down this drop down, click apply, okay. And then all that's left to do is the text formatting.
All right, so the first text we want to format is the inside text, the 12.6 million, and I want this to say 12.64M. So in order to do that, we're going to select the second marks card here and find the green pill for sum of sales, click the drop down format, and then on the left-hand side here, I'll make this a little larger. We're going to find the default numbers, go currency custom, so that's got a dollar sign now. And then I'm going to change display units to millions, so we get 12.64M. Now I can increase the font size to something a lot bigger and maybe bold. Now that's finished. Perfect. Now I'm going to repeat the same thing for my first marks card. Actually, I don't have to because it's already been done. I could modify the decimal places on the percentages. So if I wanted to do that, I could go to my first marks card. I could find the table calculation with the triangle icon here, go to format, and then find numbers, percentage, and then decimal places and go to 1. Perfect. Now I want the text here to be a little larger and I want them to be left aligned. And maybe I want the dollar sign before the percentage. So in order to do that, we're going to go into our label settings, click the 3 dots here next to text, grab all of our text and click the left aligned button, make the text a little larger, and then I'm going to switch the order of sum of sales and the percent of total sum. And then I'd like a little label in front of each, so I'm just going to type in shipping mode with a colon and a space. I'm going to type in sales amount with a colon and a space, and I'm going to type in percent of total with a colon and a space. And I'm going to click apply, and you'll see that change. Now that's a lot of text now, so maybe what I'll do is I'll just get rid of some of these, say percentage. And then maybe I'll bold the values so they stick out. So I can grab these values here. Perfect. Now all we have to do is make sure our title is centered like our other charts and hide this card here. So I can click the drop down here, hide the card, and then double click my title and format it the same way I format all my text in Tableau. So I'd make it the same font size as my other charts and click the preview button to see what it looks like in full screen. And there you have it. That is a donut chart in Tableau made with a dual axis on a calculated field. The calculated field is just this simple function of min1, and I can right click that and click edit. And you can see the function right there. I accidentally just added. There we go. All right, so there you have it. Once you've got all three of these charts, we've got the line chart, the donut chart. I'm going to show you in another video how we can combine them on a dashboard and make something very similar to what we created in Power BI right here. Thank you.